Where's Hugo? The island of Sodor has many special engines. Hugo is a very special and modern engine indeed. He is a rail zeppelin and has a propeller at the back. One day, Hugo arrived in Apford Station. The other engines were there, so was the Fat Controller. Hello, Hugo. Good morning, sir. It is a fine morning, said the Fat Controller in return. Hugo, I want you to go up to the sandy yellow beaches at Harwick. Captain Joe must talk to your driver Franz about some special exhibition they'll be doing in the coming few weeks. Really, sir? I can't wait to know about it, said Hugo. You must get there right away, Pete Percy. I've heard it's very important business. We'll focus more on it. I don't really care, huffed James. You should, called Henry. Hugo is a very special engine and a very useful friend. Useful friend, I think not, said James. If he's not painted red like me, he isn't useful at all. Wished James. Hugo looked disappointed. I can be really special, and I can fly, too. Like that, big blimp that was in the sky the other day. Oh, groaned James and Henry together. You can't fly, Hugo. You're too big to get off the rails on your own. What a load of garbage, said James. Rubbish, whisked Henry. I'll show you all that I can fly, said Hugo. Watch me. Hugo thundered along the tracks. He met up with Harvey and Gordon at the station, along the highway. Hello, Harvey, called on. I'm showing all the other engines that I can fly. Gordon was not amused, nor was he impressed. I think you can do it, said Harvey. Flying engines? What nonsense, said Gordon. I've heard of an air train, but I've never heard of a flying rail zeppelin. Goodbye, he puffed. Hugo made his way to Harwick at the sandy yellow beaches. He saw his good friend Skiff was there. Skiff had raised the alarm when Hugo got in trouble and had an accident for following the blimp. Hello, said Skiff. Hello, said Hugo. What are you doing up here, said Skiff. Franz wants to talk to Captain Joe. Then Ryan arrived. Hugo saw his chance to ask his inquiring question. Both of you, stop, said Hugo. Have you ever thought you could fly? No, said Ryan. That's silly. But I've thought that I was like a really fast boat, said Skiff, but we can only dream. Then Duck and Oliver arrived. Engines can't fly, said Duck. It's not Great Western. Duck's right, said Oliver. We're meant to be firmly on the rails. I know, of course, said Duck. I learned that lesson from Percy. Then, said Hugo. I best be off then. If none of you see it the way I do, goodbye. The others were puzzled, but they enjoyed looking at the beautiful seaside view from their beautiful tracks. Hugo rolled along the line again. I will show everyone on Sodor that I can fly, he said to himself. But he had forgotten all about Captain Joe and Franz, and he didn't seem to care either. I can fly, he called. On his way to find the big hill where he would fly, Daisy was having trouble. I'm not going to take the milk, she cried. Nonsense, Daisy. Rubbish. You can just couple it up to your back end. I won't, said Daisy. Percy or Toby can do it. They like messing about with milk trucks. I don't. I'm highly sprung and right up to date. Pulling milk vans is bad for my swerves. Rubbish, said the driver. Let's go, Daisy. Come on, back down now. I won't, said Daisy. You'll get another engine. Hugo arrived. Hello, Daisy. Do you want to see me fly? No, said Daisy. I don't care. You can take this milk van off my hands. Then I'll think about wanting to see you fly. Think about it, she said. All right, said Hugo. Hugo really wanted Daisy to see him fly. I'll take the milk van off your hands and off your wheels. But you can't couple up, said Daisy. You have no couplings. I'll push, said Hugo. Are you sure, said Daisy. I'm positive, said Hugo. I can do it. So the drivers pondered. I guess you can push, said Daisy's driver. It'll be no trouble for me, said Hugo. I am a doubly useful engine. I can fly and I can push freight. If you say so, said Daisy. Daisy's driver walked away. He had had enough of the shenanigans. Just so long as the job was getting done, he didn't care who did it. And Hugo pushed the milk van away. He was not coupled up. Hugo sped along the countryside. Must take care. Once I deliver this, I can fly. Then there was trouble. He derailed. The milk van came off the track first. Then he rolled off after it, but in separate directions, and he tumbled down the slope. Help! Cried Hugo. Oh no! Ah! Then, suddenly, someone came along, put up 2 stop signs between the freight car on each end of it, and went away. They were nowhere to be seen afterwards. Sir Topham had arrived. There's been some trouble. I've gotten a call in my office. Hugo has had an accident, and the milk was never delivered, Thomas. Oh, no. We will have to go look for Hugo, said Sir Topham Hatt. James didn't want to. I'm not going to look for him. He thinks he's so special because he's got a stupid propeller. He thinks he can fly. I won't look for him. James, boomed the Fat Controller, we will all look for him. Of course, said Thomas. I will, said Percy. Thomas, Percy, and Henry. You 3 will lead the search. Gordon, James, and Edward must help too. No, said James. I'll help, puffed Edward. All the engines except Gordon and James agreed. Gordon and James did not want to help. Fussy wheels, said James. He thinks he can fly. Let himself fly. He can fly himself away. I concur, said Gordon. He thinks he's an air train. Those don't exist. In Sodor, at least, said Gordon. All the engines were worried about Hugo except for Gordon and James. Percy went to Brendam Docks. Cranky, have you seen Hugo? Hugo? That whirly wheels? Said Cranky. Of course not. Rubbish, said Big Mickey. I've not seen him either, and I quite frankly don't care. Well, I'll just ask the seagulls in the sky. No, Percy, said Cranky. Don't be so daft. Get on with your life. Seagulls can't talk. Go find your brain. Percy wished sadly. He hoped he could find Hugo. Then he saw Daisy. Daisy, what's this about you and the milk, and have you seen Hugo anywhere? Oh, yes, Percy, said Daisy. He took my milk for me. I wasn't taking it. I told my driver to fetch either you or Toby to take it. Percy puffed away. Henry went to see the pack. Miss Jenny wasn't there when he arrived. She was on important business. Have any of you seen Hugo? Asked Henry kindly. No, none of us have seen Hugo, answered Byron and Lawson. I don't like him. He called me a wacko on wheels, said Scott. You are a wacko on wheels, said Lawson, cheekily. Watch yourself, said Jack, standing up for his friend Scott. Growled Lawson. Okay, thank you, said Henry, and he chuffed away. Percy asked Bill and Ben. They hadn't seen Hugo either. As Thomas puffed along on the highway line, he noticed something. That's it, cried Thomas. All unbeknownst to anyone on this line, Thomas came to a stop. The milk van! The key to the incident, he whistled to himself. But who put these stop signs here, he wondered. Thomas pondered for a moment, and he suddenly knew where Hugo was. But first, Thomas went to go and get help. Gordon looked for Hugo too. He hadn't seen him either. James puffed along the rails in the beautiful countryside. He was just puffing along, grumbling about Hugo, when, "Help!" came a voice. "Help!" James stopped. "Hugo, is that you?" "James, is that you?" called Hugo. "It's me. I found you!" cried James, and he raced away to go and get help as quickly as he could. Thomas had collected Harvey. "Please, Harvey, will you remove this milk van? It must be delivered as quickly as possible." Daisy never delivered it, neither did Hugo. "Of course," said Harvey, and he began to re-rail and put it back on the tracks. "I wonder who put this stop sign here. And this one," said Thomas. "Never mind it," cried Harvey. "Let's go." Once the milk van was back on the tracks, Thomas thundered away. He had to help finish solve the mystery. Just after they had gone, the mysterious figure came along and removed the stop signs, and they weren't there on the tracks any longer. James collected Thomas, Harvey, and Rocky and brought them back to the site where Hugo was lying. "Are you all right, Hugo?" called Harvey. "We'll soon have you back on the rails in no time," cried Rocky. James was very glad he had helped Hugo. After that, Thomas raced the milk van to the dairy, and he puffed back to Knapford. The friends puffed into Knapford Station. Harvey and Rocky had gone back to the search and rescue center. The fat controller was pleased, but he was cross with Hugo. "I'm not pleased that you got into an accident. You could have severely injured friends. I hope you're both okay." "We are," said Hugo. And next time I want to fly, I will make sure I take care," said Hugo. "All the time,"